And there is that amazing moment right there where you just kind of, as an artist, once you create it and it's out of your head and you release it, you let it go. And it's a beautiful release that when you let it go, you give that opportunity for the reader to then connect with you. And you give them permission to come and imprint their own feelings and thoughts to what you created. Welcome to Pros Talking Prose, everybody. Stacey and Troy here. We're talking about the publishing and writing business, and we are crazy. We're glad you're here.
Yes. Someone has to be.
Someone has to
be you.
We might as well be weird with you. You know, if we encourage weirdness, and we are awful and weird as well. So we just wanted to let you know that we are grateful to all of you who have already liked, subscribed, and followed. We would appreciate any additional likes, subscribes, and follows. We are pushing closer and closer, like just closer and closer to the 500 subscribers.
Inching towards 500.
Yeah. Yes. And you know, we Troy and I we joke about this all the time. We did not start this podcast to become influencers. That's not why we're here. But when you guys like and you subscribe and you comment, it tells the algorithm that what we're doing is appreciated by people in your certain demographic. So we would really appreciate that, so that we can make sure that we're talking to authors that really care to hear what we're talking about. So we appreciate all of you, and thank you again. This week, I haven't really seen anything in the news that has made me pull on my emergency brake. Have you, Troy?
No, no. It's been a relatively
quiet.
It's been a relatively quiet week in the publishing industry as far as like how the publishing industry goes.
Yeah.
It seems like there's something new every week at this point, but I think what we're seeing happen is a stabilization and a normalization of some of the things that are going on, to the point where it's not news anymore. We're just still figuring out how to navigate some of the stuff. It's not news.
I will say that I did see something this week that I thought was kind of interesting, and it kind of made me silently chuckle. Is there's a lot of influencers, like like TikTok and Instagram influencers lately, that are leaving their businesses and going back to, looking for regular jobs and to be regular people. So quote unquote. But I think that it's interesting because I heard someone coin or say a term that we say in this business quite a bit. And they said, I think we're past the gold rush of influencer territory. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because I was like, we say that in the publishing industry.
Camp on that for just a minute before we hit our topic of the day.
Yeah.
Because actually it's related.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
I can make a bridge here.
Yeah.
I can make a bridge here. It might be a little bit swaying slightly, but it's windy here today, so that's cool. But anyway, but I feel like the influencer movement was following the author movement all along, in that here's the truth of the matter, because of the way the power law works. And one of these times we'll actually have a podcast.
We're going to talk about Maslow's power law.
And we'll talk about the power law and just the way things work. People say, things aren't fair. And I'm like, you are absolutely right. Things are not fair. But the truth of the matter is that for influencers, similar to authors, like there are only so many influencers and so many products for so many people to make a living or to make money at it. So eventually what will happen is 10% of the influencers will make 90% of the money, and 90% of the people that are trying to be influencers will not be successful.
Right.
They just won't. Right? It won't happen. And the reason is it's just not possible.
And those statistics are just being thrown out there, but that's like that's the general, like
general,
the observation that we're seeing. Yeah. So that's very interesting, because I found that was very, very interesting to me. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, because it is definitely kind of tapering off into this weird and everyone's just trying to figure out the normal.
We went through this with the music industry and the book industry as well, and it relates to our topic today because as an influencer, you almost have to find a niche because you can't be everything to everyone. So you're either a fashion influencer or a foodie influencer or something. And there were just people that were trying to do a little bit of everything. Right. And it only worked for a little while because people that were truly experts as foodie influencers became the foodie influencers.
Right.
People who are actually hip with all the fashion, which is clearly me. They moved into that influencer fashion span. Look at me. I'm the
you're an icon. Fashion. You're an icon, Troy.
I'm a fashion icon, clearly. But anyway, but all of that being said, that's the way the power law works. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we should talk about that another time because that would be fun to talk about, the Maslow pyramid and everything like that. So that would be really
super interesting. Psychology, all that stuff.
Yeah. That's fun. Okay, well, today actually what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the need or the feeling that you need to market to everyone, or that your audience or your book is for everybody. And this comes up because recently, and I don't know if this author is going to be following me or if he watches our podcast, but this might be a lesson for him specifically. But I recently had this author tell me this very thing, and I'm going to have a conversation with him about this topic actually as soon as I get his manuscript review done. But and I don't want to hurt his feelings at all. Because I understand where he's coming from. It really is what it is it's kind of like this. And I told Troy this, it's kind of a fear kind of a fear that you're going to exclude certain readers from your audience if you market to an audience. And really, readers are ultimately all looking for acceptance, right? We're all looking to say, I want someone to like what I do. And so when you put that book out there, you're looking to get that acceptance or that validation that what you did mattered to somebody. And what you fail to understand a lot of times as authors is that not only do you seek for that validation or that feeling of being seen and understood, but your readers are feeling they want that too. So there is in communications, when you learn communications in school and whatever, one of the things that they teach you from the onset is that communications is not a one-sided thing. Troy and I sitting here, one of the reasons why I sometimes I have a really hard time with, and the reason parasocial relationships kind of work in the way that they work in these, social media and these platform related things is because specifically the communication is perceived to go two ways. The reason I like having these podcasts with Troy is because I feel like I'm having a conversation with Troy. I feel like, okay, this is more normal. I can talk to somebody, but if it were just me talking to my camera, it takes some imagination for me to imagine, okay, who am I talking to specifically? But it's because communication, it's a two-way thing. It's one of those things where you kind of need to, a message is sent out and then you need to see how that message is received, and that message being received, if that message is received differently or not than you intended, then the communication failed, right? So communication is only successful when the message is sent out and received in the way it was intended. And that is a successful communication. And with books, you are specifically doing that. And so you're looking for that successful communication link, right?
And here's what we often say about books is the story begins in the imagination of the author and is finished in the imagination of the reader. The reason we say that is because the reader fills in blanks. That's why you don't want to give the reader every detail of every little thing. When you say this guy walked into a cheap hotel room, let every reader have their own image of what a cheap hotel room looks like. Describe it well enough that we know what it is, but don't describe it in so much detail that the reader, nothing is left to the reader's imaginations. This is what you have to trust your reader, right? Well, but there's a difference between, in the instance of, let's just use romance as an example. It is virtually impossible to write a romance novel that is for everyone.
Right.
And the reason is everyone has a different vision of romance. And within romance readers, every romance reader has a different vision of what they're looking for in a romance. Some are looking for steamy, hot romance. Some are looking for clean, cozy romance, closed bedroom door, all of that type of stuff, right? So saying your book is for everyone is essentially saying your book is for no one. Because if you're trying to appeal to everyone, you're not going to hit the mark of what a specific audience is looking for. Or if you do it, it'll be accidentally, and you may or may not find that audience through marketing.
Right.
Right. If that makes sense. So the idea that your book is for everyone is just, you almost can't name a book anywhere that was for everyone. I think that Hunger Games is a great example of a well-written novel. It follows a really great structure. There's super good world building, all of that kind of stuff, right? But if you think Hunger Games is for everyone, go ahead and Google it and look at the reviews.
Yeah.
Because if you think there's no 1-star reviews of Hunger Games, think again. Go look. There are movies that I love. The Big Lebowski. Some people just don't get it.
Like, I'm one of them, but I can, not that I can't appreciate it, but I do sit there going.
Yeah, it's got a cult following. It's got a cult following for a reason, right? It wasn't box office big hit successful. It was successful with a cult following later. Why? Because it's not for everyone. There is a lot of drug use and
profanity and innuendo and misogyny
that are
can go on and on.
I mean, there are a lot of things in that movie that are potentially offensive to a number of people.
Right.
Now, for me, that's one of the beauties of the movie itself. Right.
It is one of the ironies of the movie also. It's one of the But finding
1-star reviews for The Big Lebowski is a very quick and easy process. Right. Because it's not for everyone. And the Coen brothers never intended it to be.
And they did. That's the thing. I don't think they ever intended,
because they knew that in the first place.
Yeah. And I think
Vince Gilligan thought Breaking Bad would never get made for television. He thought, nobody's going to make this thing. This thing is too out there. It's too wild.
I think it's really interesting. Was it James Cameron that did the Avatar movies when he did? Okay, so on the third movie, was it the third one or the fourth one? It was like, it came out, there was a lot of criticism when he was about to release that movie because it was like 3.5 hours long or something ridiculous, right? And people were like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to see that movie. Nobody's going to go to the theater and pay that. Nobody's going to go, and he was like, I don't care. And I think that James Cameron, it's because he realized this movie is not for everyone. This movie is for people who, like they are fans of this universe that I've built. So it's kind of the same thing. And I kind of like, it does lean into that whole thing. Like, and I wanted to kind of point that out here is that the thing about the influencer world that kind of, I think that is being kind of finally alert or awakened to, and why it's settling is because they're realizing in a lot of ways that nobody likes, that readers and that people that we go onto social media and we indulge in that world, we want to be seen, we want to be validated, we don't want to be marketed to. And that's the thing about that the influencer, and this is why I saw the crash and burn of the influencer world from the get-go, is because as soon as they started doing sponsorships and as soon as they started selling products and as soon as they were pushing these products and they became like, it was almost like they were selling their souls to push products that they don't even believe in.
It was form QVC.
It literally became that. Like it literally became like fake commercialism, right? And so we were all just like, what are we watching? Like, we're just watching a bunch of commercials all day long that's packaged in this very almost sly, like, oh, send this person to Coachella for free. Why should I do that? I want to go to Coachella. I'm going to pay $300 my own money. I'm not going to buy this crappy product that she's pushing for whatever reason. And I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, right? So I mean, that's the thing about readers is they want to be seen. They don't want to be marketed to. So when you write a book and you are like looking to target an audience, I want you to stop worrying about, well, if I do that, I'm excluding somebody, because what happens often accidentally by authors that they don't realize is that when they start to actually pinpoint and niche their book out, they will have crossover. And a really good example of this is because people who become your fan will often like come in from other genres or other audiences. A really good example of this was when Michael Brent Collins tells this, and I don't think you would mind me telling this story, but when I know that at one point his horror, it was about the time that this was happening with the author world, and he was noticing that he wasn't selling as many titles and he wasn't making as much money, and he was really kind of getting nervous about his horror genre and how his books weren't selling as much. And he went to, I think he credits Joanna Penn with this, but he said he went to Joanna Penn and he says, like, I'm struggling about this. And Joanna suggested that he write in a different genre, and suggested the romance genre because it was such a huge genre. So he came up with a pen name and he wrote romance for a little while. He wrote sweet cowboy romances and under this pen name, and did an amazing job. Well, what's really interesting is that a lot of his romance readers realized that he was a horror writer and he had all these other novels, and they crossed over. So he
didn't hide that pen name.
He didn't. He was
cleverly
open about it.
Did not hide that pen name. And here's the thing, like, readers read in different genres. So it's not like I'm saying, like we're saying at all, that by shoehorning yourself into the genre that you can never write another genre and people will never read anything else. Those readers will never read anything else that you wrote. Now, what's funny is horror and romance have a surprising crossover.
Yeah.
Right? Surprising to people not in the publishing industry. If you're in the publishing industry and you have been for a while, you understand that crossover, because it's the same audience that reads both. They read them for different reasons, but there's like I just met one of my neighbors. She's like, "You're the author, right?" And I met her because we have cats under our house. Anyway, they're not ours. It's a long story. But anyway, but they have been feeding the mama cat. So we found out mama cat's healthy, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, speaking of horror. But anyway, but what was funny was she goes, "Oh, you're the author that moved in here." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And she goes, "Well, I really like romance books." But she goes, "I love Stephen King." Right?
Almost apologetic like that.
And look, I did not react by, shock. You like Stephen King and romance? What is wrong with you? No, because I've been in the industry a long time and I understand what's happening here, right? Like, this is not like a surprise, because there is a lot of crossover. But the point is, Stephen King does not target romance authors.
No.
They find him because they like both genres. So there's a crossover in the genre, not because horror writers are deliberately marketing to romance authors.
It's not intentional,
or romance readers, but because it's just a natural spillover. So there are, if you write in more than one genre, there are some natural spillovers that you can play with if you want to, right? Because, and even use your own name or use a pen name, but just don't hide it, or whatever the case may be, because there is some spinover back and forth between the various different genres. And it's okay to be open about it, but just understand, I'm marketing my serial killer thriller books to one audience and my romances to another. And if there's some crossover, excellent, love that. But I'm not going to try to force that crossover. And that's the difference, is by saying, my book, this particular book, is for everyone. No, I'm writing a writing book right now that I know for a fact is not for every writer. Like Stacey and I are writing a book together. I know for a fact
it's not
it is not right for every
Mm-mm.
author, right? And that's a narrow, fairly niche audience, right? But you can't even say that because we look at story structure books. I love Story Genius. I know people that doesn't resonate with them at all. Okay, awesome. What that means is it's not the book for everyone. It's not the answer for everyone. So it's kind of this is kind of a myth busting thing, but it's also kind of a thing to encourage you to, well, what happened to you, Stacey, when you came to Idaho Writers and Editors and you were starting out? What did we tell you? What did we
yeah. So
tell you?
When I first came to the Idaho Editors and Writers Association, one of the first presenters was my good friend Kristen Iris. She wasn't my good friend at the time. She was just another editor that was presenting at the time, but she was presenting and she was talking to us about business. And of course, I was just starting in this business, fake it till you make it kind of thing. And I was sitting there at the table and we were all listening to her and I'm taking notes feverishly. And she says to everybody, the dumbest thing you can do as an editor is to say that you edit all genres. And I, of course, was taken aback. I was like, oh crap, she's telling me to not.
I remember your face.
I was like, yeah, I don't hide shock well. But I was like, I was so scared that I was never gonna, I'm like, this woman's going to take all the business because she's going to market to all the customers that I don't have. And I'm not, and I was like thinking, I'm leaving money on the table by telling people no. And it didn't occur to me at the time, but it does occur to me now, of course, but I took her advice and she didn't lie. As soon as I niched out, as soon as I said, okay, I don't edit all the genres because I really couldn't. There's no way you can. And I wasn't being honest with myself at the time anyway, but it wasn't until I sat down and I said, okay, what genres do I know well? I know horror, I know thrillers, I know mysteries, I know true crime, I know dystopian fantasy, and I went through a couple others. Like I know children's books left and right. Like children's books, believe it or not, is one of my specialties. And then, yeah, a few others. And I put them all down and I said no to romance because I was like, I knew from the onset I couldn't do it. And then there are certain, and here's the thing, horror is interesting too, because I mean, Troy and you say this, romance isn't for everybody. I can do sweet romance. I can do sexual tension and I can do that all day long. It's once you cross the lines and go into the bedroom and you do anything, you go into the, the more spicy heats that I'm like, I draw a line because I start to giggle. I literally start going, you can't describe that member to me any other way. There's only so many words for that part of the body. Once you get into the more interesting parts, I'm like, no, can't do that. I start giggling. Sorry about my dogs. Let me shut them up for a second. Anyway, and then the other thing that was really interesting was that on the romance, not on the romance side, but on the horror side, I realized I had to draw a line because there is a line in genre. There's like this really, you can have really, really gory, and then you can have like more of a thriller, suspenseful,
psychological
side. Psychological
versus
side,
physical,
and then when you get into the 4 slasher stuff, I'm okay with the slasher stuff, but when it teeters into sexual horror, I get really, really, like, I get really, really ugly. And so I realized, because what I do is I speed read through it and I don't edit it with an analytical eye. So I was doing my clients a disservice because I don't want to read it. So if I don't want to read it, then you're not going to get a very good editor, right? So I recognized that about myself. And it wasn't until Kristen pointed this out that I recognized that your readers are the same thing. When you're sitting down and you're saying this is for everybody, the problem is that you're not recognizing that your readers don't want to be forced to do something that they don't want to do. And when a reader picks up a book that they have the impression that it's for them, and then they get through it and they realize it's not, they will reject you and be harsher on you than, say, somebody who knew what they were getting, and you delivered on that promise. Genre is a promise.
Yeah, this is my common analogy of, if I walk into a restaurant, I'm going to go into a restaurant in a little while, right? If I got family dinner thing, right? If I walk in there and I order a pizza, personal pizza, I want this personal pizza, this toppings I want it, all that kind of stuff. And they bring me a burger. It doesn't matter how good that burger looks. It doesn't matter how good it tastes. It doesn't matter whether that's not what I ordered. Right. When your reader downloads a book of a certain genre, they're expecting to get that genre. They may like this other genre over here at various times, but that's not what you promised them.
Exactly.
When the waiter came up, he promised me a pizza. When he came back, there was a burger. Because the burger is wrong, whether or not I like burgers or not, I'm sending it back so I can get my pizza. Right? That's the analogy of like, so it'd be like walking in like a restaurant that says, well, or like a mixed grill that has everything, right? We make Korean food, like some of those buffets right out there. What is that one? I don't remember. Anyway, Chuck Wagon, Corral, Golden Corral, something like that. Right? They have every type of food, but you'll notice that they're all separated into different sections, right? And generally, people don't put on their plate some sweet and sour chicken and some barbecue pork and some, who knows, whatever else, a Mexican taco, right? And they don't put all three of those on the same plate and sit and eat it because it's mixed up.
It just doesn't, the flavors don't flow well, right?
It doesn't fit together.
And that's the thing. I mean, you don't go, this is a very good analogy, because you don't go to an Italian restaurant when you're in the mood for, Mexican food. It's the same thing. So so readers, they want a certain thing. And here's something that we're tiptoeing around that you need to understand. This is like, I'm gonna throw some genre like lingo, or, some linguist, some, publishing lingo at jargon. Thank you. And that is that reader promise, and delivering on that reader promising, and that reader promise, and then betraying reader trust. These are when you deviate from a genre that you're in, or that you say that your book's one thing and you don't deliver on that. That is violating that reader trust. And what that does is that quicker than anything, that will actually lose you trust in the industry, so that it's not just your readers that'll turn on you. It's actually the algorithm that'll turn on you as well. And so you have to recognize that market positioning matters way more than just saying, I just want to be for everybody, because that's ultimately doing you more harm than just niching in. So you need to just be okay with that from the get-go. Like just understand that nobody's trying to exclude anybody. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that your book hits those marks so that it's well received in the marketplace.
Right. And I mean, I think this goes to, like, we've been talking on this podcast and various other places a lot about my community.
Ooh, you're glitching.
Audience.
I'll say that again, because say that again, because you glitched.
Did I glitch?
Yeah, it was weird. It was like you got turned into a robot.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We've been talking on this podcast and elsewhere about a micro community versus a mass audience.
Exactly.
And what's important about that is that, so let me throw something out there that's going to maybe freak you guys out a little bit, but Stephen King has a micro community of people that follow him. If you look at the relative size of the reader pool in the world and all of Stephen King's sales, it's still a micro community. Now, it's a bigger micro community than what I have. And I would love it, Stephen, if you could just give me your micro community.
It doesn't work like that, Troy.
It doesn't quite work that way.
Like that way.
I get it. But the principle is that he has a micro community too. James Patterson has a micro community.
Yep.
Lee Child has a micro community following. Right. It's a large relatively large micro community, but when you look at the whole of readership around the world, it is a small micro community.
Right.
The reason is not everybody likes Lee Child.
Right.
Not everybody likes James Patterson. Believe me, both of them are perfectly okay with it. Dan Brown is an example of not everybody likes Dan Brown. I don't care for Dan Brown. Stacey likes him. But here's the thing. Even people that didn't like Dan Brown's books that we talked about before bought his books to argue against it. It was the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like, you want to hurt this author because you don't like him, so you bought more of his books? Like, it didn't make any sense in the world to me. But here's the thing that's important to note about that, though, is, okay, Dan Brown has a micro community of followers, and Dan Brown had movies made of his books.
Right, exactly.
That thousands of people saw. Maybe million, I don't know what the numbers were,
but
probably millions saw the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be realistic about this. Okay, so when you're saying, but I mean, we clearly know those books are not for everyone. Okay, so when you're saying my book is for everyone, what you're trying to do is supersede some of the biggest names in the business. Tolkien, not everybody likes Tolkien. You know, I mean, come on. So definitely not everybody likes Dune, but there's a couple movies out there, and one more coming that I can't wait to see, actually, that, you know what I mean, that are based on that book.
Right.
That not everybody likes. Okay, so what? So stop trying to appeal to everyone, because it's just not going to happen. Because if you do well, you will appeal to enough people that you can survive this industry and make a decent living. Like, you don't have to appeal to everyone to make it. That micro community idea is that instead of appealing to that mass audience, appeal to the people who are going to love your book and be delighted by it.
Let's talk about what a micro community is. So you guys have to understand that when we talk about building a micro community, we're not talking about just putting your book out there on Amazon and seeing who your fans are, the people who leave your reviews. That's not what this is. So when we're talking to authors about how to build an author business, the first thing that you're always going to get asked is about your platform. That's another word, another word, jargon word that's used to describe those people that follow you in one way or another, that subscribe to your newsletter, that follow you on social media, whatever. So that's your platform. It's how many mouths or how many minds you reach with your mouth. Okay. How many people are, in your ecosystem. Okay. One of the first things that we always encourage you to do is start with a landing page or website of your own that you can collect email addresses from people who come to visit you. Okay. And people will often ask me, they always ask me, well, I don't have anything out yet. I don't have a book out yet. My book's not ready. I don't even have a cover. Doesn't matter. We have numerous tools out there available to you that you can easily create a mock-up, even if it's just a square graphic that says book coming soon, August or fall 2027, yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Yeah.
You can create something and put it on that page and tell people, I'm writing a book and this is what I'm doing. And if you want to know more about it, please give me your email address so I can stay in touch with you. That's all. And that will get you at least started. What you are then going to do is you're going to then cultivate and nurture that audience that says, I'm interested. Okay. So what you're going to do is share information about yourself, share information about what you're writing, share information about characters, encourage them to interact with you about those things, share their stories. It's not that you just want to be talking from a platform about, buy my book, because we don't care.
That'll never work.
That won't work. But if you're up, excuse me. If you're up on this platform and you're talking and you're saying, hey guys, I'm actually not up here, I'm down here. And I love cats. And today my cats would not stay off my keyboard and it made it really, really hard for me to write. Does anybody else have this problem? Tell me about your favorite cat story. And you'll find a whole bunch of people come in and, oh my gosh, my cat is crazy. Or my mom has this cat and she does this. And you know what I mean? Like when you encourage that kind of conversation, instantly people go, oh, you're not just going to try to sell me something. You want me to be part of your community. That's what we're trying to say. That's what a micro community is. It's creating this environment where people feel like I'm with a bunch of people that think like I do.
Yeah, you're reeling in like one fish at a time. And another way that I like to talk about platform is like what it doesn't mean is that you're up on a platform behind a lectern talking to people. If you ever see me give classes live, you'll know that I'm really not that good at that.
Yeah.
I walk into the audience, I walk around, I do good luck filming me, okay? Because I mean, it's
yeah,
just,
me too. I mean,
good luck,
still.
right? Because I don't stand still necessarily. I'm moving into the audience, I'm talking to the audience, I'm interacting with them, I'm making them answer my questions and things like that. And the reason for that is that it creates an engagement and a relationship there. And when I'm doing those presentations, I'm not selling something, even if I am technically selling something, like a course or whatever at the end of the presentation. I'm not selling something as much as I'm caring about where you are as an author, what your pain points are, and telling you ways that you can solve them with or without whatever thing I happen to be offering at the end. Right?
Exactly.
Either way, I'm going to present you some solutions to your problems. I did a presentation at the library a little while ago. Stacey was there, and there was the one gal who fits a mosaic, right? And the mosaic is like a typewriter that writes things in pieces and then assembles them later, right? And what was beautiful was not even explaining that, but it was having her realize this is what I do. But this guy's describing that up on that slide like more people than just me do this.
Right.
And suddenly she realized, okay, I'm not alone, but also I have a path forward. There's a way I can use this. And whether she takes my course or not, she has information that helps her understand what she's doing and what to do next with this big draft that she's got. Right. So it's about developing that relationship. For that few moments, her and I had a micro relationship where I'm telling her, I'm helping her, I'm coming alongside her as a friend and as a colleague, and helping her understand not only where she is, but how she can get to where she wants to go. Right. So what you're doing with your readers, you're developing a relationship with them. I mean, I tell the story, I'll never forget my first book. I had a friend of mine from high school that messaged me on Facebook, hey man, I got your book. I'm super excited to read it. I'm like, oh, crap. My Christian school friend from 20 years ago is going to read my book with all these religious undertones. That's great. That's wonderful. Thanks, man. I'm not going to sleep tonight, but I appreciate you sharing that with me. But he messaged me the next morning and said, can I call you? And I was like, oh, no. This probably isn't going to go well. But I'm like, well, I guess I'm down for it. I wrote the book. I put it out there. Got to deal with it. Right. And so he called me and he said, first of all, I'm ticked off at you because I stayed up all night reading your book. Second of all, which I'm like, thank you, but you could take your time a little more because it took me a long time to write it. And, but he said, it was incredible how you related to people in this situation. And he goes, by the way, how are you doing?
Oh, wow.
Right. And it was a moment that was like, okay, through this 20 years of not talking, suddenly we had this relationship because he read something that I wrote, not with him in mind, but because he was part of my audience and he picked it up, then he understood. Right. And it was, I was like, oh, I reached someone. Right. Well, that one person was enough in a lot of ways. I mean, and that wasn't the only places I went, but what you're looking for is that kind of a relationship. That guy still follows and reads all my books. Right. Like from the start. Right. Well, why does he do that? Because when he said, can I call you? I said, yeah, sure. Let's talk. Right. You can't do that with every reader, once you get to a certain point, that's all you would spend is all day talking to readers on the phone. But at the same time, the point is that you're trying to develop a relationship with them. Now, there were other people. My brother called me and said, that author's note you have in the beginning of that book, you need to take it out right now. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Right? Two people that I've known for years, completely different reactions. Right. That's because that book was not for my brother.
Right.
At all. Right. It just wasn't, I knew it wasn't his kind of book. I didn't necessarily even want him to read it or ever pick it up. Right.
Well, I will say this. I will say that a lot of people misconstrue what a micro community is. They think that it comes from their books, and it actually doesn't. It extends beyond that. So it's actually going to come from your outreach outside of your book. You're going to see it in Discord. You're going to see it in Facebook groups. You're going to see it in your book talk circles, newsletters, your email list, your Patreon or Substack if you're opening one of those, school communities like Troy and I have our school community, or in fandom participation. I know a lot of people that also write in fandoms or write what is it called? The short
fanfic.
form fanfic.
Yeah.
So
or they have their own fan group and their own fandom.
Right.
And those people, they allow those people, which, please, for the love of all that's holy, if somebody tries to write something in your fandom in a fanfic group, don't go in and mess with them. Leave them alone. They're your best ambassadors. Just quit it. Just quit. I know authors get oversensitive about this. Just leave it. Leave it. Just leave it alone.
Because what we're really saying is that a connected reader is actually more than a casual follower, right? And that's what you're really trying to do, is you're trying to create super fans. You're trying to create these connected followers. So you don't want to isolate or make people feel like they're wrong. One of the things I talked about this in another podcast once some time ago, but I remember there was a karaoke car moment with Jeff Corden or whatever his name is, by the way, who's ostracized from all of the world right now, but it's fine. But one of the things that he did is he did a car karaoke with Gwen Stefani. Well, I'm a fan of Gwen Stefani's. I like her music. Before ska was popular, I liked ska. Anyway, so I know I don't look like that, but whatever.
It's okay.
It's fine. Forgive me, all of you. I like ska.
You don't have to ask forgiveness for being a fan. Right. Never.
Anyway, so she's in there, and they're singing, and when she branched off and did her own thing and she became a solo artist, she did one of her songs was a Hollaback Girl. And Jeff Corden, or is it Jeff Corden? Well, anyway, Corden.
Jeff. Oh, you're not talking about Jeff Gordon. That's the NASCAR guy.
No.
You're talking about
the night
James Corden.
James Corden. Thank you. See, he's so forgettable. I forgot about him.
Karaoke?
James Corden. Thank you. I mean, there were probably people screaming at the screen just now, like, Stacey, quit saying Jeff. It's not Jeff. Anyway.
Yeah, it was James. Jeff Gordon and Gwen Stefani, and they were going left around the block several times.
Left again.
Making another left.
Anyway,
go ahead.
But yeah, they were doing their car karaoke. He asked her the question about her song Hollaback Girl. What does that song mean? And she said, well, what do you think it means? And so he told her. And actually, I think at this point they had like Julia Roberts and Clooney in the back seat. Like they were in the back seat. Yeah. And they all gave their interpretation about what the song was. And she goes, oh, okay. And she just let it sit. And they're like, well, are we right? Like, and she's like, I wrote it for people. I wrote it for me, but it means something to me. Whatever it means for you, it means for you. And there is that amazing moment right there where you just kind of, as an artist, once you create it and it's out of your head and you release it, you let it go. And it's a beautiful release that when you let it go, you give that opportunity for the reader to then connect with you. And you give them permission to come and imprint their own feelings and thoughts to what you created. If you're constantly trying to control what's happening, and it's believe it or not, it's these people that say that my book is for everyone, that I feel like they're the ones that want to have the most control over the interpretation of their story. And it's the same people. And I want you to know that that's what you need to do, is you need to let go of that, because it's when you let it go, you are permitting the readers to have their own feelings and thoughts about what you're writing.
Right. And these are the same people who come to me and say, this is a great book. I want to find someone to publish it who won't change a word of what I said.
Right.
And generally they over describe and over explain things. So I'm going to tell you guys something. This is a true thing. I do not recommend this. So please don't follow my stupid example, except that it worked. Okay. In my first commercially popular book, Redemption, I never described the protagonist. And nobody else in the book ever describes him.
You know what
I would ask people after that,
did they all have a different
person? What does Samuel Elijah Johnson look like? And they all had a different image of them. Some of them surprised me. Like they had a different, I described that he had tattoos, right? So some things were like common that were described in the book, but as far as like a physical description, how tall, what hair color, what eye color, never said in the book. And I asked people a lot of times, what does he look like? And I would get a different answer every single time. Now, that is not the best idea to do that. Like in that particular case, it worked. And I've seen it work in other books as well, because a lot of that book was first person. So I don't want to do the mirror description or any of that kind of stuff, right? But I want, like, so it's not necessarily wise, because it has to be done really well.
Well, and
the fact that I did it really well was accidental. I was not that good.
Yeah. So Michael Brent did that in The Deep with his
same thing.
Monster, right? He never describes that monster. You have no idea what that thing looks like. And so of course the reader's imagination just
goes wild.
Yeah. And he wants that, right? Because he's really, what he's trying to do is get you to feel the fear that you should feel,
that you have,
right? Like if a lot of times when you over describe something, you remove that ability for the reader to connect, right? To feel that, oh my gosh, that feeling that you're trying to, and oftentimes the feeling is more important than the actual vividness of the character, right? And that's the same thing with the community that you're building. It's exact same principle here. You're not building, it's loyalty, right? Loyalty is more important, and it scales better than being viral. Viral is like a one-shot thing, and loyalty stays. And that's the same thing with these feelings. They stay.
Of belonging in a shared community. So like there's a couple bands that I follow. Many of you know Sleep Token. Okay, I'm going to shut up about them. I'm not going to talk about them this time. But I'm going to talk about
Sleep Token made up friends, everybody with the bingo cards.
Yeah, Sleep Token mentioned.
Sleep Token's in there.
Did you see that comment in one of our last videos? Somebody said, Sleep Token has entered the chat. And I'm like, yes. Okay. But Blue October is one of the bands I followed for a long time. Justin Furstenfeld, who's the lead singer, has an incredible story of addiction and recovery. And much of the time when I was following them early on, that man was a mess. He was heroin addicted. He had all kinds of other problems. He went through a major divorce, wrote an album called Any Man in America. And when he was done with that album, the band basically said for the next album, no more Justin being angry. You are done. Your angry songs
no more being angry. No more. You're done.
Right? But for every guy that I know that's been through a divorce, Any Man in America is an album you can 100% relate to. Right. Even if you didn't have exactly that experience, you can 100%. And this guy he's brilliant lyrically, brilliant musician, right? But what's the more interesting thing about the band is their fandom. So no matter what, they have changed dramatically over the last 30 years, dramatically from what they were to what they are now. And he has fans that still follow him. He has people that were literally like, they loved him and they were praying for him to get clean, praying for him to, like, I mean, religious people following a not at all religious band, right?
Yeah.
Praying for this guy to heal, praying for him to not be addicted anymore. And those same people are celebrating his recovery now, right? Because there is a feeling when you're a Blue October band that you belong to something bigger than yourself. And that he has this amazing way of articulating things that we have all felt in the form of songs. So there's people that they like this album and these songs better than these ones because they relate better to them. But the overall community says we have all been through an experience. We have all followed Justin through this experience, through him now having a family and being settled and being clean and being
I think
sober.
that's why there was such an amazing, weird moment when we lost Kurt Cobain. I think it's because so many people really felt connected to him, right? And related to him at that time.
Same thing, Linkin Park guy.
Yeah.
You know, what the hell?
I can't remember his name either.
His name just went out of my head, but
but I remember what you're talking
is
about. Yeah, it's the same thing.
He sings that song, One More Light, and then he's gone.
Right.
And we're like, and the whole, like, a whole huge music community, but not a huge music community, a micro community of Linkin Park fans was like, that dude matters to us.
Yeah.
And what happened to him matters to us. And that's the kind of community that you're looking for. You're not, I mean, I could go on and on about all different bands that I've followed through the years, right? That have the same type of thing happening. Authors that I've followed through the years that have the same type of thing happening. John Irving is one of those that's like, he's not like a household name like some of the other authors are, but he has a dedicated group of fans. And the reason is he tackles things that are difficult issues through fiction in an amazing way that at the end of it, you feel transformed, right? At the end of his books. Well, that's because of the way he tackles those things. So if there's micro communities that follow all of these authors, and the good news is you as an author can have one too, but you're not going to get everyone.
Right.
You're just not going to get everyone.
I have some well, I'm going to talk about first how we can sabotage them, and then I'm going to give you some practical questions to ask yourself about and how you can go about this. But the first thing I want you to do is kind of talk about like how you could probably sabotage this. And Troy, I don't know, you tell me if you've done anything, because I've done this, apologizing for the niche that you're in. Have you heard any authors do this where they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a horror author." I have heard this so many times.
This is when it happens. Okay, you're at a party, or like when I met the neighbor the other day, right? She comes over, we're talking. She says, "I like romance, and I also really like Stephen King." The temptation as an author is to say, "I'm sorry, I don't write romance."
Right?
Why are you sorry?
Don't be sorry. Or don't be sorry that you write.
And also, opposite thing, don't be annoying. We talked about this the other day. Don't be annoying.
We did talk about don't be annoying.
Don't be annoying and be like, well, my mysteries and thrillers have some romance in them.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Dude, it's okay if they like something that is not what you write. Let it be.
Let it
go.
Let it lie.
Let it go. Anyway, yes.
We lie there.
But don't apologize. Please don't apologize for what you write. Don't do that.
Another thing that authors do to kind of like sabotage is they'll constantly rebrand what they're doing, or they'll constantly change what they're doing, or rebrand themselves because, I wrote something different. So I need to rebrand myself. Yeah, so don't constantly rebrand. It's one of the good story about this is when I went from Edits by Stacey and I added Print to Pro to my brand, I was trying to figure out if I should change my brand. And I was wondering, one of the things I did is in college is I decided I wasn't going to take for granted any of the classes that I took. Right. So while I'm there, one of the classes that I took was an entrepreneur class, and they wanted you to design a brand and they wanted you to build that brand out. By the end of the class, you were supposed to have a fully built out brand. And I was so excited about this because I was like, I am not going to waste this time. I know that I'm going to graduate and I know I'm going to open an editing business. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this class and I'm going to build my brand, my editing brand with this class. Well, one of the things they teach you about logos and the name of your business is that your name, the name of your business should in some way reflect what it is you do, right? So something about you or you, and then what you do. And it should embody the feeling that you're trying to cultivate. So I'm like, well, I'm an editor. This is how creative I am. I'm an editor and my name is Stacey. Edits by Stacey.
Super deep on the creative end there.
Yeah, that's it.
It was like my first website that was Troy Lambert Writes. And my first LLC was Troy Lambert LLC. Why not?
Why not?
I mean,
well, it makes sense when you're an author, but it's just so funny. So of course, so at the time, lightning struck. I did the brand and I created a logo where it's just my initial inside this circle. And I have since regretted that. But when it came time to be like, okay, I'm morphing because I realized it's not about me. It's about my authors. I'm solving a problem for authors and this is what I'm trying to do. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to change that brand so that it reflected that. I realized at that time, I was already 5 years into my business when this was happening, this transition was happening. And I recognized at that time that it was too late, that my brand had already stuck. I had already been used as an example in multiple local writers groups where they were talking about, this is how you should brand your business. Like, look at what Stacey's doing. Like, look at how she does all this across her brand. You can tell it's her. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah. Like,
oh no, it's stuck. And it's okay. It was finally at that moment I had to kind of like accept what I did. And I realized, okay, I'm just going to run with it. So I kept it. It's Edits by Stacey LLC. Print to Pro became a sub brand of mine. So it was just one of those things. Like I had to realize how I was going to structure it. I had to think outside my box. Right. But I didn't rebrand. And the reason I didn't rebrand is because I already had a micro community. That's the thing you need to recognize as an author, is that if you've already created a micro community and they already recognize you for something, you don't need to constantly rebrand because you feel like, oh, well, I'm a little different now. You can change certain things or aspects slowly, but don't do a really abrupt, okay, I'm this, because what it'll do is it'll make people think like, what are you doing? Like they'll feel like you just jerked a rug right out from underneath them. Exactly.
Whiplash. Like you can change your logo.
Yeah.
Like you can change, or like you can lean into something. Like people were calling me the plot dude. Why? Because I'm a Big Lebowski fan. I was wearing the sweater when I'm doing workshops and stuff like that. And they're calling me the dude. Okay, the plot dude. That fits. I leaned into something that was already happening. Why was it already happening? Because a micro community was already building up around
your micro community created that.
And I didn't have a name of my own because of the way that I did that, which is another story for another day.
Right.
But all I did was then lean into what's already there. And Stacey's like branding. Yeah. And she's making me brand everything, right? But the truth of the matter is that was a good thing, that was a positive thing. But I had to lean into the niche. Like I still talk about the writing business. I still talk about the industry and stuff like that. But primarily I deal with craft and teaching you to be better at what you write. Because what I'm finding from talking even to more advanced authors is they're taking their craft very seriously right now. Because part of the problem is once it gets to the point that AI can write a competent, minimally viable story, then releasing a minimally viable novel and making money off of it is not going to work anymore.
Right.
You need to be excellent. You need to be way better than anything any machine can grow, and your author voice needs to be constantly developing. Otherwise, you are just another machine.
Right.
Right. And we don't want to be just another machine. So the principle is that I'm leaning into craft because all writers need craft.
Right. And you kind of touched on this, is like also fighting their readers. Fighting your readers is something that you mistake. Like, I know a lot of authors will say, well, I mean it to be like this. And then we talked about this earlier, where, you're constantly trying to change or make the reader see it your way. Let go. That will sabotage your brand faster than anything. And then also marketing from insecurity. It's like, it's one of those things where you're like, you make choices that are reactive and less more intentional. You can really sabotage what you're doing. So don't just lean into that authenticity, lean into who you are. Don't worry that you're not like Stephen King, or you're not as serious as, Lee Child, or that you don't have, you don't have the same persona as James Patterson. Nobody cares. You're who you are. Lean into that. So you don't build communities by diluting your person, who you are.
Don't dilute your brand and who you are to build a community. Be authentic and be yourself, and draw people to you that already like who you are. Exactly. Don't try to change who you are, because it's not going to work. You're the only you that you got. And like the illustration of Blue October is like, as you grow and change as a person, those people will follow you through that journey. Exactly. It is okay to, in fact, please grow and change. Right. Especially if you were anything like me, I need to grow and change all the time, right? It's just the way that it is. And I mean, I could tell stories. I'm not going to tell those stories right now. That's probably another podcast for another time. But I mean, truth of the matter is, as you grow, as you become a better person, as things change, people will follow you through that journey. So it's perfectly okay to have that journey, right? Because everybody has a journey. And a lot of times your readers and those people in your micro community will be people that relate to your journey. Right. And who you are as a person. So being authentic is super essential, because if you break from that authenticity, people will notice and they will have questions. So don't do it. Exactly. Just be yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So now I got some practical questions. Okay. These are the questions that you'll ask yourself about yourself, your brand, and your community, right? Okay. So ask yourself, what kind of reader would feel emotionally safe in my stories? Ask yourself that. This will kind of help you identify who your target readers are. Okay. What recurring emotional experience do I deliver? What am I delivering? What's that reader promise? And what am I doing a good job delivering to my readers? What are they telling me? What kind of feedback am I getting that lets me know? Because, again, it's one of those things, when you get the feedback, sometimes you'll see that you're leaning into something that you didn't realize you were leaning into, and that maybe you should be, right? What themes keep coming up, or keep showing up in my work? What kind of themes do I keep writing about? And that might identify something about yourself and about your work more than anything else. What readers defend books like mine online? Go out there and find other books like yourself and see what readers are saying about them, and see what they're saying about those books. What conversations am I creating, or that naturally occur around my stories? That's another good question, right? And what kind of readers are recommending my books to their friends? These are all questions that will help you identify who your super fans will be, and they will help you cultivate and nurture your micro community, because you'll be able to understand and know what they're looking for from you. And then you can therefore create those things to engage with them. Okay. And that could be from surveys to merchandise to just prompts,
Well, yeah,
to
and
anything.
one more thing about that that's almost a discussion of its own, but I'll just mention it here is where do those readers that are recommending your book and
Where
that
do they
resonate with your
congregate?
questions, where do they hang out?
Yeah, where are they hanging
Because
out?
book talk might be the spot for you, but it
But maybe
might
it's not.
not.
Yeah.
Maybe your fans are still on Facebook. Maybe they're on Insta. Maybe they're on Substack.
Maybe they're
Hey,
nowhere
maybe
on
they're
any
on
of those,
LinkedIn.
and you have to
Maybe
go,
they're not
maybe you just have to
online.
email them.
Well, or
Right?
provide a community space for them
Yeah.
of your own
Like
on a
like what
platform
Troy
of
and
some
I
sort.
did.
Do it on your website, do it on a program like school, do something like
Mm-hmm.
that, and provide your readers with some place to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the important thing is that they can not only connect directly with you, but they can connect with each other. The
Mm-hmm.
best discussions in those music band groups that I talk about happen between the fans.
Right.
Without the band leader or the lead singer or whoever coming into the conversation, it's between the fans. And
Right.
somebody would come on and say, hey, I'm having a really down day today. And I was listening to this song and it really did help me out, but I really could use some encouragement. There's a flood of comments like you matter. You're, that type of thing. So that people feel the support of each other, right? So people can discuss around your book to each other what they're feeling. They can help each other with understanding. And so you're providing them just a space to do that. You don't have to even be there all the time, right?
Exactly.
It's just, I mean,
So
that's the principle,
that's the
right? That's
goal,
the
right? The
principle.
goal
That's the
isn't,
goal.
so the goal isn't to become famous then. The goal isn't the goal,
No,
by marketing to everybody, you're not, you think that you're going to become, I don't know, big, but that's not the goal. The goal is to become important to somebody, not to be
right.
famous. It's to become important to someone. That's
Yeah,
what your goal should be. And so by doing that, by coming down here and finding who that target reader is, you are doing so much more than you will be by spreading your arms out wide and saying, I'm accepting
right.
everybody, because that just doesn't work. So, because not
Yeah,
only that, not everybody wants to be like that. Scarcity and
yeah.
scarcity and exclusivity is actually something we all like to think we're unique. And when we are
Hmm.
embraced by somebody who says, yes, this is my unique community, we feel even more special. So
Yes. Well, and I mean, think of this, okay? You can't be for everyone because of how divided we are in
right.
today's world.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring all those people together in the exact same space, they will fight. They'll find something to fight over. And I mean,
Gladiators, we salute
look,
you.
this is just the reality. Are you not
Are you
entertained?
not entertained?
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, this is not, I don't want to start a gladiator community, right? I want
Right.
to start a kind, loving community where people are good to one another.
Right.
That's where we want to be, right? That's the community that Stacey and I have over on school. We just posted some rules because we had a few things happening, even early on. And I'm like, hey, one of the first rule is just to be kind,
We're
be
just
nice
gonna
to
be
each
nice
other.
here. Yeah,
If
I
you can't
don't.
be nice, you you're out the door. With that's
Yeah.
something we don't give a warning for, right?
Yeah.
You're unkind to someone, leave.
Yeah.
We don't need you here because we want this to be a safe place for people to talk about the craft and the business of writing without judgment from
Without
anybody.
feeling judged. Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it's just, but the point is that your community may have there, it may involve certain people. If you write for the LGBTQ community, you may have a large gathering of those people, and there may be certain people you don't necessarily want in your group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just because there's division there, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't want that. The division isn't going to do anybody any good. So
Exactly.
don't try to be everything to everybody, because part of the reason it won't work is those people will not get along. You're going to
Right.
attract people to you that agree with your life philosophy, that agree with your principles, and that like who you are as a person. Allow that to happen. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we hope this was helpful for you. We hope that everybody here got what they needed to from this topic today. if you have questions specifically about how to market to your work or to your niche audience or what your niche audience is, I always recommend getting a manuscript review from somebody who could help you pinpoint that. If you, forgive me, if you are looking for something that maybe you don't want to hire a professional for that, and you're just looking for a real quick, glimpse, it may not be accurate, but it seems like Pro Writing Aid has got a pretty good grasp on that. Like when you throw a manuscript in there for a manuscript analysis,
they have a decent analysis tool.
It's
proceed
decent.
With caution.
There's
Caution.
The caution is it's not thorough, but I will say that it will at least give you kind of like a direction. It will kind of show you like this is who your target audience is. It might give you some comparables. You can go look up those comparables and see if they're actually on the nose for you. That's a good way to do that, but it does cost a little bit of money, but not much. And that would be the one I recommend outside of like hiring Troy or myself to or another editor to read your manuscript for manuscript analysis. But other than that, yeah. So I hope that was helpful. Again, you can follow us over on School. We are over there as the P2P Author Business Harbor. We welcome everybody who is a writer or aspiring writer or, an old hand at this or whatever stage of the writing business you're in. We are over there having conversations about this world and encourage everybody who wants to be connected with others like them to go over there and have that conversation. We have some learning tools there as well. Troy is by the time you watch this, Troy's class will be over, but Troy and I are teaching our monthly classes, and you can sign up for those over at Print to Pro and The Plot Abides. Troy teaches the craft lab and I teach the power sessions, and we will be teaching some fun ones next month in
June, which will be the next one after this. Yeah. I am talking about the comparison trap. So kind of somewhat related. I didn't mean to have this be that conversation, but I'm going to talk about the comparison trap. This is
it's just a tough topic. That's a tough one, but
we're going to tackle it anyway. Because been there, done that, all the things. Yeah,
that's actually really good. Doesn't really coincide. I guess we could find a bridge, like Troy said, maybe between his class and my class. My class will be in June on when and how to go about outsourcing help, and hiring professionals in your publishing journey.
Your dream team.
Yeah, building your dream team. So you guys can sign up for those classes where we're teaching those. And then also if you sign up for us over at School, you're gonna SKOOL. You'll be able to, which is free, guys. I paid the money so that you don't have to. Like you can come over there for free. Ouch. It was a big bill, but I'm in there. You guys can go over there and you can look at the backlist for Troy's and my classes that we've already published this year. So those are available to premium members over there. So if you guys want to see those, anyway,
one other thing.
Sure, go ahead.
Our AI survey.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Please plug that.
By the time this drops, we'll still have our AI survey. Yes. We're looking for author AI sentiment survey is what it's about. So it's not about which tools you're using when. It's not talking about any of that. What it's talking about is just how you feel about AI and how you feel that it's going to impact the future of authorship and publishing.
So we're looking specifically for writers. If you could take a few minutes
to take that, it's 8 to 10 minutes. Please, writers, we love your mother-in-law. If she's not a writer, please don't have her take the survey.
We really do need a lot more people. We've only had about 50 as of the time of recording this. We've only had about 50 people sign up for it. We would love to see, we would really like to hit 1,000. Trey and I are emailing this out to our newsletter lists here this week. And we'll probably, I'm actually thinking about reaching out to people like in the Alliance, maybe even over at the IBPA. I'll probably reach out to them and, some other authors names like we know at the Better Faster community and so on. We might reach out to some of those as well to get more, but we would really like as many people as possible because we want a substantial data set so we can actually have
other authors, please just send it to your author friends, have them fill it out too. Takes under 10 minutes to do. But it's important that we get some really solid data about how authors feel instead of just how the general public feels. There's a video on YouTube that talks about why we're doing this survey, stuff like that. Go check that out.
I'll have all that in the description. So if you're interested,
all that'll be in the description of this. Go check that out, because we really would like to, once we get the results of that back, we want to share it with the industry as far and wide as we can. And this is just a snapshot of how people feel right now. But I think this is an important time to take this kind of a survey.
So. Yeah, I agree. So I'm really excited about it. So you guys, thank you very much. We appreciate you guys. We want you to remember to stay weird, keep writing, be kind, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.